everybody. How's it going? So good. So excited to be here. So excited for the ACT. Am I right? We're all gonna die. First, I'm gonna throw up, and then I'm gonna die. Anybody? Anybody? Yes. Hello. Yes. Let me check. Oh, psychology. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Just kidding. For AP psychology, you'll have to pay a $40. Just because at the beginning of the trimester, this will probably give you a paper to sign that says if you decide to drop the class after October 15th or something, you still have to pay a $40 cancellation. That makes sense? Yeah. So you just pay that up in the office as soon as you can. Okay. Thank you. All right. Mike, on the camera. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Since school is over, I'm going to pull out my phone and use a timer. That's the only reason after school that I would pull out my phone. Thank you all for keeping electronics. So we're going to start with question 1. This is how it's going to work. I don't know if this also did the same thing yesterday. For each of these questions, I'm going to not do it myself first. I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 60 seconds? Average how long you have on each question on the actual ACT. So, on question number 1, ready, set, go. You have 60 seconds to solve that question. In this figure, lines M and N are parallel. Transversals R and S intersect to form an angle of measure X degrees. And 2 other angle measures are as marked. What is the value of X? Is the value of X. When was the last time we talked about parallel lines? Probably last year sometime. And then they all decided to do pink at the same time. Nice. Picture of that missing. 13 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now you're going to raise your hand. I'm going to say A, B, C, D, E. You're going to raise your hand on the one you think is correct. Because on the ACT, even if you don't know, you take a guess. Right? Okay, raise your hand for A, for B, for C, for D, for E. Okay, the answer is E. I'm just kidding, it's C. The answer is C. Oh no! Okay, one sec. I forgot I can't use this. I have to use something else. One sec. In order that the people watching from home can see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the answer, yes, is C. 35 degrees. There we go. Okay, so you might have solved this a variety of different ways, but let me tell you what I did. First of all, these 2 lines are parallel. That is crucial information. There's lots of stuff I know because those 2 lines are parallel. For example, if this angle is 65 degrees, what's the measure of that angle right there? 65 degrees. If this angle is 100 degrees, what's the measure of this angle right here? 100 degrees. Okay? So if this is 100 degrees, what's the measure of this angle right here? 80. And then if these 2 angles are 65 and 80 degrees, that forms a triangle here. What's the measure of that angle? 85 degrees, because 180 minus 65 minus 85 is 35. And these 2 angles, which are often called vertical angles, or sometimes we call them a bow tie, they are congruent, they are the same, which would mean this angle is also 35. That feel comfy? Okay. Gosh, I love geometry. Fun fact, when I was in high school, they had all the math classes split into like pre-algebra, algebra, algebra 2, geometry, that stuff. My geometry teacher was the literal worst human in the whole world, but I still love geometry. Okay, Question 2. Question 2, I'll give you a minute. Ready, set, go. That's fun. The timer stopped down the hall. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, how many answer? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, for K. K. The answer is K. The answer is K. Let's take a look. 45 degrees. Okay. So, a couple things. It says in this figure, this is a trapezoid. Some things about trapezoids. A trapezoid has one set of parallel lines. That's what a trapezoid is. One set of parallel lines. The other lines can be doing whatever they want to. E is on this same line, Y is on the line AB, and there's some angle measures as marked. Whew. Sorry, so 45 degrees. Anyone want to share how they found 45 degrees? That's right. Mm-hmm. So this angle right here is 105 degrees. These are called alternate interior angles, is maybe the word. On this angle are both 105 degrees, alternate interior angles. And then you have a triangle. All the angles on the inside of the triangle need to add up to. Is that the case? Is 105 plus 30 plus 45? Is that 180? You notice they have like some other information on here that you didn't actually need to use. You could have potentially found that same information using this angle too, but you didn't have to. Did anybody use 60 degrees to solve this problem? Exactly. Anyways. That's okay? Okay. So that might be the last for a minute on like parallel line type equations, angles and triangles, those kinds of things. We feel any questions in that regard. Okay. Okay, let me bring this on. Yeah, let's do number 3. So, number 3. Give me a minute. Triangle with a perimeter of 66 inches has one side that is 16 inches long, the length of the other two sides have a ratio of 2 to 3. What is the length in inches of the longest side of the triangle? What is that? That's cool. Okay. 2, 1. Okay, raise your hand for A, for B, C. Wow. For D, for E. Yeah, it's C. C. Do we want, did everyone get that? Do we want to talk about it still? Yes. Yes? Okay. So, variety of ways you could have done this. I'll show you what I did. What does perimeter mean anyways? Like adding up all the sides of a triangle. So this is 16. Here are the other two sides. all the sides added together has to equal 66, right? Since the ratio of the other two sides is 2 to 3, I just denoted the other two sides with 2x and 3x because that's how they're going to be compared to each other. Because I did 16 plus 2x plus 3x equals 66. Which, when I subtract 16 to the other side, I get 50. 2x plus 3x is 5x. So x equals 10, which makes the longest side 30, because 3 times 10 is 30. The next side, 2 times 10, which is 20, and the shortest side being 16. That's how I solved it. Welcome. Hello. Hi. You guys need ACT packets? No. Yes. Miss Nelson is on her way with them. Hopefully. I'm curious if anybody found those a different way. Solve. Yes? Oh, heck yeah. Because you know the ratio of 2 to 3, which means there would be like 5 parts that I'd be able to. A similar way, like we did roundabout ways with each other. Okay. This off. Oh, I lied. We're not done with parallel lines. Do you want to do this one? Yeah. Okay, 4, 60 seconds, ready, set, go. Seconds, ready, set, go. If you guys, while you're waiting for packets, want like scratch paper to like jot down stuff on, or whiteboards, yeah. Make more than 7. Oh my gosh, look, Miss Nelson's. Note that in these packets, the answer keys for all of these questions, including those we don't get to, are on the very back page of every section that we covered. Isn't that a good feeling? Warm copies? Thank you so much. Can I still pack it Bye, guys. Good to see you. Okay. In negative 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, for K. Okay, the answer is H, 145 degrees. So, in this figure, I have line AC that B is on. I have line AC parallel to line DF that E is on. What is the measure of D, E, B, this line right here? So again, we use the fact that these are parallel lines to be able to tell us a lot of things. So since this is 35 degrees, this one was 35 degrees. Since this is an isosceles triangle, it doesn't say that, but this triangle has 2 congruent sides, meaning the 2 corresponding base angles are also congruent, being 30. These 2 angles have to add up to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 35 is indeed 145 degrees. Yeah, I love geometry. It's one of my favorite trees. Okay. Yeah, let's do 5. Let's do 5. That is sum of measured angles are the measures of the angles of x and y. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for F, for D, for H, for J, and for K. We have a pretty good spread there, kind of like butter. Okay, the answer is indeed H, 90 degrees. Well, I wouldn't give for it to be 90 degrees. Anybody? Too hot? 70. I'll take 70. Okay, guys, a couple ways you can go about this. Again, this is a problem where there's some information that's given to you in this picture that you don't actually need. So the things that I recognize, this problem said DF and EF are congruent to each other. Okay, so what I start to look at, since I'm looking at angles X and Y, I'm looking at these as two separate triangles. So since these sides are congruent, and this side is congruent to itself, that means that these two triangles are congruent, meaning these two triangles are like the exact same, right? They're the exact same size. Right? So, which means this angle is also measured on angle X. This angle is also measured Y. They're going to be the same angles. So, since all the angles in a triangle need to add up to 180 degrees, and this is 90 degrees, X plus Y plus 90 has to equal 180, which means X plus Y has to equal 90. Also the most fun part. Okay? So on that one, 90 degrees. Go to number 6. Go to number 6. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. I mean, about 30 seconds left. Go home. Every day. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, for K. The answer is indeed H. Let's talk about Y. Okay, so let's read this question. I had to read it like 3 times to actually understand what was going on. Which of the following lists is 2 of the 3 interior angle measurements of a triangle, to which the third angle measurement would be equal to one of these 2 given measurements? It basically means if I add, hello, let's see. Okay, if I add these 2 angles together, I would have to be able to add another one of those 2 angles and get 180, because all the interior angles are 8. So 20 plus 40 is 60. I would have to add 120 to get that to 180, and 120 isn't one of the 2 given angles. 30 plus 60 is 90. To get to 180, I have to add 90, which is not one of the original angles. 40 plus 100 is 140. Plus 40 would give me 180, and 40 is one of the original given measurements. It's not the only way you could have gone about that. That's the way I went about that. They might do that any differently. Down there. Love it. Love it. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. I'm kind of fast because I'm trying to cover. Oh, yeah. Okay, question 7. Question 7. Depending on if you are taking Math 3D this trimester or if you took it last trimester, this might be, we'll see. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, and for K. Okay, the answer is indeed H. So this is a right triangle of which I know 2 of the sides. What did you guys use to solve it? The Pythagorean theorem. Love that guy. He's over here above Stitch if you're curious. The Pythagorean theorem says that the sum of the squares of 2 of the legs of a right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Or in layman's terms, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, this could be a, and this could be b, and this would be c. So x squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. Yeah? Which is x squared plus 64 equals 100. Subtract 64 on both sides, you get x squared equals 36. The square root of 36 is 6. I know, the last, maybe we're going to break the record, I don't know. Actually, I do. Okay, that feel good? There will be, I guarantee it, at least one Pythagorean theorem question on the exam. I guess I can't say guarantee, but. Okay. I'm going to do, we'll do 8. We're going to skip 9, but we'll do 8. 8. Okay, that was like a minute and a half. You're welcome. So, cut it off. Raise your hand for A, for B, for D, for E. This doesn't matter for all of them. That's a pretty good bet, I think. The answer is B, lucky number 10. So it says the ratio of the side lengths in a triangle is exactly 12 to 14 to 15. Or you can envision a triangle with sides 12, 14, and 15. And a second triangle similar to the first, similar meaning that all of the corresponding angles are the same, and all the ratios of their corresponding sides are the same. or in layman's terms, if the shortest side, and like those triangles are the same-ish size, use your imagination. Say the shortest side of this triangle is 12 and the shortest side of this triangle is 8. That means the longest side would have to equal the same fraction as the fraction of the shortest side. So 8 over 12 would have to equal x over 15. Does that make sense? That's not the only way you could solve this, obviously, because the way I'm solving it. So then, to solve for x, I would cross multiply. 12x equals 8 times 15, which is 120, divided by 12 is x equals 10. Eight times 15 over 12, absolutely. That's like the shortcut cross multiplying. That would probably be okay. Cool? All right, very cool. Was the correct answer. All right. Okay, we're going to skip 9 because I do think 9 is another Pythagorean theorem-esque question, like number 7. Let's do 10, especially since most of you haven't had math 3D already. 10. Following sets of 3 numbers could be the side lengths in meters of a 30, 60, 90 degree. Solve this in a minute. That's a great thing. Yeah, 10 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for A, for B, for C, and for E. I forgot. What is it? It is E. It is E. Okay. There's a couple ways you could do this. First of all, in Math 3B, you spend one day on talking about special right triangles. You talk about 45, 45, 90 triangles, and you talk about 30, 60, 90 triangles, and you talk about the relationship between each of the sides. Anyone who's taken Math 3B, does that ring any bells? Oh. Yes, no. Yeah. I'm going to show you a slightly different way to do it then. So, say I take an equilateral triangle. What's an equilateral triangle? All the sides are the same, all the angles are the same. So this is 60, this is 60, this is 60. If I cut that in half, I make 2 triangles that are 30, 60, 90 triangles. So let's pretend that the sides of this equilateral triangle are all of length 2. That means these lengths, these pieces right here, are 1. There's my 2, there's my 1, because one of the side lengths is going to be half of the other, because it's a 30, 30, 60. And to find the length of this side, I would use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is 4. This is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. That third side length would be the square root of 3. It's just ridiculously. If you remember the special right triangles in Math 3B, I think you probably had something like this. If they just gave you a triangle and you wrote it this way, or 1, this is 1, half, this is the. That actually might look more similar to some of the numbers on the unit circle. Okay. If that didn't ring any bells, it's because you're in Math 3B right now. You'll get there. You'll get there. Unit circle is the most great thing that has ever been invented. Anyways. How's fun? We're going to move on. That was a good time. There's no unit circle on the ACT. That's a good question. I will. It's a trigonometry tool that you'll learn in Unit 11. In 11. Or 10? 11? We'll probably refresh it before the ACT. Okay, question 11. This one I like a lot. So let's do question 11. 3 weeks from, is it today? 3 weeks, no, 3 weeks from Tuesday? This week of next week. Okay, question 11. You got 45 seconds. Square, we have GH are the midpoints of its sides, but only B is 12. Hey, that's all she wrote. Raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, and for K. Okay, the answer is G. Okay, so the length of one of these sides is 12 inches, right? 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. But I don't want the perimeter of the whole outside square. I want the perimeter of this square, right? Okay. So I'm going to have to find the length of these sides. Okay, well, what my brain goes to is those sides are part of a little triangle. I could form a triangle here. I love triangles. I can use triangles to do a lot of things. What's the length of each of these sides of this triangle? 6. 6. I know that because E, F, and G, and H are the midpoints of those sides, meaning it splits it exactly in half. They're pretty mid. Okay? So if this is 6 and this is 6, I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find this missing side. Or if you had Math 3B and you know the special right triangle rules, you know this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, which means this side is 6 times the square root of 2. 6 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. 6 squared plus 6 squared is 36 plus 36, which is 72. The square root of 72, and since the ACT assumes you don't have a calculator, they wouldn't write it as a decimal. They would simplify the square root of 72 to 6 times the square root of 2. Okay? So then, adding up 4 times 6, that looked hideous. 4 times 6 square root of 2, if there's 4 sides, would be 24 square root of 2. Okay, we're literally not even a third of the way through. Okay, let's go to the next one. Start like telling me to skip problems. The ones you're like, no, we got that. Let's move to something harder. I don't know. 12 is too easy. How about 13? Do 13. You guys took too long to respond. Let's do 13. 13. We're going to skip 14. He's talking about perimeter. The friend shows you a scale drawing of her apartment. The drawing of the apartment is a rectangle 4 inches by 6 inches. The friend wants to know the length of the shorter side of the apartment. She knows that the length of the longer side of the apartment is 30 feet. How many feet long is the shorter side of her apartment? Now, are we good? I'm just going to start solving this one on the board. Yeah, 13 is B, because the ratio of the sides of the drawing compared to the actual building, 4 over 6, short side and long side is equal to x over 30. You cross multiply, you get 20. Question 14 is just finding the perimeter of a rectangle where the sides are 150 by 200, right? Probably something like this. This would be like in the 1 through 10 section of the I have, my wife teaches 4th grade. She has kids that absolutely hate it. Any user. Okay, let's go. Question 15. Let's do 15. 15 looks kind of fun. Let's do 15. 1 minute. Let's perimeter. People are trying to look at. Oh, wait. Jesus. One sentence. One. There's your for A, for B, E, for D, and for E. Okay. The answer is E. For those watching at home, let's see. This side is, I know the length of some of these sides. 26, 6, 10, 4. Good, buddy. 6, and 4. So there's... Man! You're all weak. There are 4 sides that I don't know the length of. But, since I know this whole thing is 26, this part is 6, this part is 10, that means these 2 sides have to add up to 10, because that whole distance should be 26. And since I know that this height is 4 plus 6 plus 4, which is 14, I know that these 2 sides need to also add up to 14. I don't really care what them individually are, but together they add up to 14. So 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 10 plus 6 plus 26 plus 10 plus 14 is 8. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right, that was fun. Try to do area. That becomes a whole different ballgame. Okay. You guys know how to solve this? I don't want to do this one all the way through, but you know how to find the area of a parallelogram? But if you don't, it is base times height. So 9 times 4 is 36. They'll put in those other numbers to try to confuse you, but area of a parallelogram is the same as the area of a rectangle, base times height. This is a Pythagorean theorem question, so we're not going to do 17. You can find the diagonal of a rectangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. Let's do 18. Let's do 18. 18. So many times. Shannon is planning to tile a rectangular kitchen countertop that is 24 inches wide and 64 inches long. She determined that one tile would be needed for every 4-inch by 4-inch region. What's the minimum number of tiles? 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for A, for B, for C, for D, and for E. The answer is indeed C. So the area of the countertop is 24 by 64 inches, which was like 1,536 square inches. One tile is a 4-inch by 4-inch tile, which is 16 square inches. So 1,536 divided by 16 is 96. On the subject of the ACT not requiring or designing other questions so you don't need a calculator, bring a calculator anyways. Please. Please bring a calculator. That is all. PSA. Mr. Burrell. Okay. What's the calculator you wrote? Either one of these, or like a TI-30. Like the little rounded ones. They don't graph. So if you want the graphing capabilities, take one of these. The other ones would probably be better. Just have a calculator, yeah. Yep. The library has a bunch that they check out. I will probably, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably run some apps and play through the day before. Probably yes. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do this one? Let's do 19. Let's do 19. I like 19. Let's do 19. On the ACT, except they won't be the same. I can't see the ACT. I can also read it. I like that. Seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for A. Raise your hand for B. Raise your hand for C. Raise your hand for D. Good one to go over. We had a lot from all of the options. Drum roll, please. The answer is B. The answer is B. Okay, let's take a look here. A couple ways you could have solved this. Let me tell you how I solved it. Do you guys know how to find the area of a trapezoid? So the area of a trapezoid is similar to finding the area of just like a square or a rectangle, like base times height. Except since I have two different base lengths, I take the average of those bases. So the average of 8 and 4 is 6. So I use that as the base. So I add those two and divide by 2. Times height is 18. So the area of the whole trapezoid is 18. But I don't want the area of the whole trapezoid. I just want the area of the shaded ones. So now I'm going to have to subtract the area of this rectangle, which is dimensions 4 by 3, for an area of 12. So the area of the trapezoid minus the area of the rectangle is 6. 6 square inches. Yeah. 6 times 3, so the area, so the area of a trapezoid is the average of the bases times the height. So sometimes it's written like this, base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times height. I just like to, in my brain, remember, let me take the middle number between those two bases, which is 6, times by the height, which is 3. Yes.
So this is the way my number is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, based off the English, is there any way to do it like?
Yes. Yeah, you could do that too. Yes. Yeah, so you could assume, like, pretend like these two triangles have an average of a base length of 4, because this is 8 and 4, so these two combined together would be 4, times by the height divided by 2, because that's the area of the triangle, base times height divided by 2. That'll give you the same thing. That's good. You guys like that better? Okay, cool. Sorry. That's fair. That's fair. What, you guys don't have these memorized? Kidding. Just kidding. What did you learn about finding the area of a trapezoid? Who would have that memorized? Psychopath. All right. Okay, guys, it is like 3:08. I'm here until you tell me to leave. What do you guys want to do? Take a look. What do we want to do next? Getting into like circle stuff? Let's do 21. 60 seconds. 21. A chord, 24 inches long, is 5 inches from the center of a circle, as shown below. What is the radius of the circle to the nearest tenth of an inch? Right now. Maybe I'll record all the way to the end. Yeah, pick up at 48 minutes. Watching this on triple time. Watching the Parker's videos on triple time. So exciting. Okay, 10 seconds. I fall asleep. They're so good. They're so good. Okay, raise your hand for A, for B, for C, for D, for E. The answer is D. Okay. So, a Pythagorean theorem question cleverly disguised as a circle problem. Because if this chord is 24, this halfway point is 12. Then you just use the Pythagorean theorem and find out this is 13.
This is yucky. No.
How did you do it? I'm curious. Right, you're like, it's a little bit bigger than 12, but not so big that it's going to be one of these bizarre numbers. Yeah. But also frustrating, maybe? Frustrating. Okay. Yep, 22, because it's been a while since you guys have done this. 22, ready, set, go. The standard coordinate plane is tangent to the x-axis at 5 and tangent to the y-axis at 5. Which of the following is an equation in that circle? So many words. Oh, tangents. There's some trigonometry at the end of this section. In geometry, there's trigonometry. So we'll get to some of that. We'll cover that before we go. Have a good guess. I covered this about a week and a half ago with my sophomores, in case you're curious how long ago it was. Okay, 3, 2, 1. A, C, for D, and for E. Okay, the answer is D. Okay, so let me explain what some of these things mean. First of all, a circle in the standard coordinate plane is tangent to the x-axis. Tangent means, do you guys know what like a tangent line is? So like if this was a circle, a tangent line would be a line that only touches the circle once. Okay? So tangent to the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and tangent to the y-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it means I have a circle like this. That was awful. Only touches the x-axis once at 5, the y-axis once at 5, which means the center of this circle is at 5, 5. That's the center of that circle is 5, 5. And the radius of this circle is 5, because from this point to any point on the outside of the circle would be 5. The equation of a circle, which you learned in Math 2b, is this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k represent the center of the circle, and r represents the radius. So that's where the x minus 5 and y minus 5 come from, because it's x minus 5, y minus 5. And that's where the 25 comes from, because the radius squared is 5 squared, which is 25. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so in this case, they just used the tangent line like terminology, so you knew where the circle was located in the coordinate plane. And then from that, you were able to know, okay, well, because it's tangent to 5 and 5, that's where the center point is. And the radius ended up being 5 because it was 5 away from the radius. Right. Okay. That was a good time. Okay. Let's go. This is similar. I think I might skip that one. That's another equation of a circle. Probably. Back to that. 24. 24. 1 minute. Across the x-axis to have the image a prime, b prime, c prime in a standard coordinate plane. Thus, a reflects to a prime. The coordinates of point A are C, D, and the coordinates of point I'm not even trying to. We got 30 seconds. And we're mortified. Absolutely mortified. Not a full. Salt Lake. Very tight. Very nice.
You have roll.
Fish. Hey, raise your hand for F. For G. Oh, did you miss F? Raise your hand for F. Okay, the answer is F. So pretend pretend A is any point, it doesn't matter. Say this is 2, 2 or something. If I reflect it over the x-axis, the x value is going to stay the same, and the y value is going to switch signs because now it'll be negative. So if the original point was C, D, yes, the x value would stay the same, the y value would switch signs because it's flipped into the negative y zone. All right, that's it. I think I'm going to skip 25. That one's fine. I'm going to skip 26. I think you guys can figure that one out. 27, just for 7. 27. It's because the ACT is finished on the calculator, so they wouldn't give you a guess. Yeah, I mean, you guys didn't do it on the calculator?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
Correct. A for B, C for D, and for E. I don't remember. It is B. Between and 2. So I'm talking about a volume here, right? Because there's a thick sheet of snow over the top of this football field being 10,000 cubic yards. So volume is length times width times height. The volume is 10,000. The length is 120 yards because you have to include the end zones. The width is 53.5 yards. And we have to find the thickness of the snow. So you would just have to do 10,000 divided by 120 divided by 53.5, which ends up being like 1.56 or something. So between 1 and 2. Cool. All right. The formula for the volume of a sphere. At 29. I want to do 29. 29 is kind of fun. 1 minute, ready, set, go. 9. When Angela was cleaning her refrigerator, she found 2 bottles of catsup because somebody called it catsup. Capacity of 1 bottle was twice the capacity of the smaller bottle. She estimated that the smaller bottle was about 1 capsup. The larger bottle was about 2. All the catsup in the smaller bottle into the larger bottle is how not how. Oh, you're probably right. Basically, what that is. That's good. Okay, in 5, 4, 2, 1. Here's your hand for A. Here's your hand for B. Here's your hand for C. Here's your hand for D. Here's your hand for E. The answer was C. It's 5/6 of the way full.
This is kind of like a didn't make sense. But why you can't be less than 50, right?
Right. Right. So when Angela was playing her refrigerator, she found 2 bottles of ketchup, right? She noticed that the capacity of the larger bottle was twice the capacity of the smaller bottle. Pretend like I drew my pictures good, and the capacity of the larger bottle is twice what the capacity of the smaller bottle is. She estimated that the smaller bottle was about 1/3 full of catsup. 1/3. And the larger bottle was about 2/3 full of catsup. 2/3. She poured all the catsup from the smaller bottle into the larger bottle, then about how full is the larger bottle. So automatically you know it's going to be more than 2/3. Right? So you automatically know it's not A or B. It has to be 5/6 completely full or overflowing. So if this quantity right here is 1/3 of the smaller bottle, it's the amount that that's going to take up in this larger bottle is half of that, because this bottle is half the size of this bottle, right? Which is 1/6. So when I put it in here, that's going to be 1/6 of the larger bottle. 1/3 of this bottle is going to be 1/6 of the larger bottle. So then I just have to do 2/3 plus 1/6, which I'd have to get a common denominator. That's 4/6 plus 1/6, which is 5/6. And I was just like, okay, well, what? Oh, for number 30? Should I scroll down to number 30? Oh, it's because I copied these from like a digital book. Like, this is like a screenshot. I didn't type it in. Should we do this one? We're getting into the trigonometry. Do you want to do this? Okay, question 30. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, that's all. What's the tangent of R? Tangent of R. I'll write this up here for no apparent reason.
I just saw the opposite from that. I understand that. I'm trying to remember what numbers pull into opposite. And not as in like what position they're in, like what is the actual number? Like,
So go ahead and raise your hand for F, for G, for H, for J, and for K. Okay, the answer, what are we on? 30? 30 is G. Yeah, so you might remember SOHCAHTOA, where if I'm looking at angle R, this is the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse sides. So tangent of angle R is opposite over adjacent, or R over 2. Oh, looks good.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, do that one. 31. The hypotenuse of right angle, or right triangle PQR is 16. The sine of angle P is 3/5. About how many feet long is QR? Three, 2, 1. Raise your hand for F. Raise your hand for G. Raise your hand for H. Raise your hand for J. Raise your hand for K. Okay, this one is G. Oh, the sine of angle P, sine, this is opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. It's the SO part of SOHCAHTOA. So that would be the ratio of this side to this side would be 3/5. I don't know what this side, but I know that it would be over 16. So that creates another proportion, two fractions, for which I would have to solve for hexen. And I would cross multiply. I would do like you're saying 3 times 16 divided by 5. This part? Just 3 times 16 divided by 5. So you'd have to like set it up first using the sine, cosine, tangent rules. Got them? Stretch. Holy crap, guys, it's almost 3:30. Are we hitting in there? Are we okay? Are we good? I'm so good. I have bagel and donuts. No, bagel and eggs in my house. And I'm eating my son calls it donuts. Okay, let's do 32. Yeah, let's do 32. This would be like, this is, yeah, okay, well, 32. Sides of a right triangle ABC are as shown in the diagram below. X is greater than 0. What is the cotangent of angle A? Now, what's the cotangent? Cotangent, who? Who's she? Like this, I'm on board. Just really quick. Oh. I'm just for kicks and giggles. Something? Check out. Hey, in 3, 2, 1. Raise your hand for A, for B, for C, and for E. It is E. It is E. So, these are the ratios for sine, cosine, and tangent, right? Have you guys heard of, some of you have you heard of cotangent before?
Yes.
Sine, cosine, and tangent are closely related to cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Their fractions are just upside down. So it's the sine of an angle is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. And cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Shows you that. So it's just adjacent, so this is angle A, adjacent over hypotenuse, or the square root of 4 minus x squared over x. So it's just tangent, but upside down. That's what it is. That'll be up there on the ACT, because cotangent is things that most people will forget. So that'll be up there in like the 40 to 60 range. Yeah, take a picture. Okay. Got it? Okay. Let's see. Should we do 33 and 34? Okay, let's do 33 first. Try that out. Give you a minute. 33. If sine of theta equals negative 3/5, and theta is between pi and 3 pi halves, and tangent of theta. Put it in a circle. This will make a little bit more sense than if not. So you would just have to know enough about the unit circle.
This a math one? This a math thing?
Doesn't have to be.
Okay, there we go. I'll figure it out.
You could potentially, just knowing sine, cosine, tangent stuff, you might still be able to solve them. Hey! Okay, raise your hand for H, for J, for K. You just motioned to all of me. Name that movie. Answer? That is How to Train Your Dragon. You just motioned to all of me. Okay, the answer is J. Okay, the answer is J. So, let me show you something. If you didn't know about the unit circle, and pretend that negative isn't there, if I have any triangle, say this is the angle I'm concerned with, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this would be 3 over 5. Using the Pythagorean theorem, you could figure out that this side is 4. So then tangent of this angle would be 3 over 4, which is 3/4. Good question. As, I erased my circle! So on the unit circle, those who have taken Math 3B, help me out. In radians, this angle right here is 0, this is pi halves, this is pi, this is 3 pi. Right? So it's saying my angle is between pi and 3 pi halves, which means the triangle that I'm drawing is like right here. Okay? So then if this is my angle, opposite over hypotenuse would be 3 over 5, would be negative 3 though, because it's a negative y value. See that? If you haven't had Math 3B, this will come, I'll explain later. But then the reason that when I look at tangent of theta, that would mean this side is negative 4, because it's in the left direction. So negative 3 divided by negative 4 is positive 3/4. Did you follow that okay? Trey, did you follow that okay? Anyone else who's had Math 3B, did you follow that okay? Has anybody else had Math 3B besides you? Okay, good work, you guys. For those, if you're in Math 3B right now, I'll explain more. Or Ms. Nelson will explain more. I'm going to try to explain it before the ACT. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Should we try 34 too? That's another unit circle-esque question. Let's try your own first. Let's try it on your own. Try it on your own. I'm going to scroll a little bit farther up here. Try it on your own. If the value to the nearest 1,000 of cosine theta is negative 0.385, which of the following could be true about theta? Hey, that's a minute. Give it your best shot. Make sure for A, for C, for D, and for E. That one was D. Okay? So, first thing, we'll see how far we can get with that. For those who've had Math 3B, you know that on the unit circle, the cosine values are the x values. right? So where I'm going to have negative x values is on this side of the unit circle, somewhere between pi halves and 3 pi halves. So it's not going to be this one. It's not going to be this one. It's not going to be this one. It has to be one of the last few. Like it has to be one of either D or E, right? Between pi halves and 2 pi thirds. So then in your calculator, you can literally do the inverse cosine of negative 0.385, right? And then you'd plug, like you can just type these into your calculator and determine which angle is between pi halves, if it's between pi halves and 2 pi thirds, or 2 pi thirds. You just push second and then cosine. Like the second and then the cosine to put up to -1. Okay.
Promise, I'm not stupid.
I believe you. And just so, like, this would be like question 59. Just so you guys know, like, this is a hard question. And it'll make a little bit more sense after we take it. That's when we stop the recording for our friends at home. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, friends at home.
Bye, friends at home. Thank you guys for playing.